Promise not to tell Kevin.
Can you unlock us? Let's go ahead. Conference room is just outside. Yes, that's me.
You were in the elevator this morning.
Yeah?
Doesn't matter when we throw these at.
I see the RCMP, they were already over there.
Yes, I
Peter Sorensen.
Is that?
Yes, I
Right.
did.
Oh, yes, Stuart, I've seen your name. Yes, me.
How big is the?
No, this way you can't actually smack the guy. It's too far of a reach.
Let's throw something on.
Yes.
Okay.
We could use this in our cabinet. A lot of smack.
Get enough space on the ends. So rather than have a hole in the middle, which is unfunctional either, we just got a series of off-the-shelf tables and line them up the other way. Okay.
Oh, that's yours, okay, good.
I spend a lot of time here.
Not all yours, I don't think, but
I'm not expecting to eat out of it.
No, I'm giving you first dibs.
Who else were you expecting, Paul?
Just waiting for Ross.
Better pass them around, I can't eat them all.
Well, I was going to take it back. Yeah. Their luggage is in my car.
Paul O'Brien.
Over there.
Paul, well, you've got your car key.
Yeah, go ahead.
Folks. You want to sit in the front?
Climb in. Oh, we'll see how many people are going.
oh, there'll be 4 of us.
Yeah.
Sure. One more through here.
Run.
The room, should be room back there. And, you want me to drive?
Yeah, Brian, where's Brian?
Bottom of the strait, you dig a trench 2 meters wide and 2 meters deep, in which sits a pier base on the pole. The pole sits on 3 points on the arc, which is 3.1 on top. And they have attached to them a rope line. What we tested here was to see how the rope bag expands when you do it underwater, fill it in with rope. We have what we call a horse that is a frame on its own level. Hardened from the hole that you put inside, and it comes out into the roof panel up there. And now we have a mounting point for it. These roots that they give us, put them on the string. For a while now, we get stone, but this material right out of the bottom of the strait. We lay it into the rock, and that's how the excavation works. First, we practice filling grout bag. That's where the pile is down
I just got tied up. David, please meet you.
Give us a quick, what are we doing here other than playing?
Number one on the main girder area that we're just preparing right now. And it comes off the match cast. Now, the match cast, we just made our first original pour about a week and a half ago. It's poured upside down. And basically after this is poured, turn 180 degrees, lower it onto the pallet truck, and everything just starts into your assembly line on the rail there. Head for pour number one. We come along, turn it on the pallet truck, we head for pour number two. And then we just continue all the way down the stages on the main girder section. So
You want to now take a look at
Sure.
show them how it flips? You get 44 of these.
I can talk to you about that. That'd be a great idea, eh, Paul? Yeah. See how everything is placed. And this has all been set in. It all works within a millimeter. And we just smooth, turn right over as smooth as it's on. Everything is lowered into the pallet truck. Take it on the rail.
What that allows us to do when we get out onto the Strait, we have a straight shot, take this piece, and we adjust it on top of the gear shaft. We take whatever time it takes to get it right, rather than right. And because the main girder, which is 190 meters long, its piece, the part that fits over the gear base, the gear shaft, has been matched to the top of the gear shaft by this piece. There's just one way it can fit. So when you go to place that 190 meter piece, you don't have to worry about lining it up. There's one way you can line up, because you line up the 10 meter piece. So that's the uniqueness of what we're doing here, and that starts the ball rolling. In order to cast it, you had to cast it upside down, establish the way to match cast it. And that's what we do.
Now that thing seems to be in reverse A-frame.
So that A-frame is going to sit right inside that feather bead. And if you visualize, at the end of the day, this girder that's 190 meters long, all of the post-tensioning cables come along the girder of the deck, down through those tubes, down into the gear shaft. That's what ties it all together. That's what those tubes are there for.
Independent, that's right.
Everything's independent.
So you're adding a small piece.
Okay, there we go.
That's right.
Right up to the bed. As you're going, you pick up the lower 9 degrees. And that lower is 7. And these are within millimeters. So that you can actually, like, for instance, this match cast piece, you can just kind of yank on that cable. So go ahead and well.
Is this a Teflon surface?
Oh, and the Teflon just gives the rubber, just like a paint stripe. The Teflon is inside the rubber.
Yeah, that's the rubber.
But it travels on. What you see there, that crane is a 400-ton crawler crane.
Fit pretty good. Once the diaphragm is set in place, that's going to tell us an awful lot more, because that's where it gets very complicated. When the diaphragm is actually set into place, then your inside forms have to marry you in. And there's a lot of pieces to go in there. There's a lot more pieces than what you see on the outside wall.
The inside forms hang off of this frame as well as its partner on the other side, and they come in and form the inside of the bridge form, and then you cast the concrete around.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Incredible.
You guys just love this thing.
Really love it. Very interesting project.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I love this.
And what we'll just come down to the end here. And this part is the as we start things off here. Here it takes 8 weeks to get finished. And then after that you get one piece of work. The reason that we have this piece down there is because it takes more than a week to build the centerpiece with the diaphragm and everything. So we have to be building more than just build for every one. That's what we need to build more hammer. Hammer in it. And it just goes down here and it's like watching any kind of stuff.
We all want to see the Guzman. It's on the water now. You can envision how they move the rockets in Cape Canaveral with those crawlers. That's something like the way the Guzman works.
All these, you were asking about those concrete foundations that are under construction.
This in itself is
That's a big one.
I can see where you need the next one.
Now, once it's here, you don't, then that's no longer a risk. There's a certain risk, small, but a certain risk. Bringing something that big across the Atlantic Ocean. So that's one you'd have to keep in the back of our head a bit. And as far as starting with labor, I negotiated a union agreement for the life of the project, no strike, no rock.
For the life of the project, and waivers are big, so they went under there. I didn't realize that well. That was their way out of the business program. It came back, so that's stable. As far as material supplies, we're pretty stable. Our reinforcement operation comes out of Quebec, and there's Delco. I guess it bears when we start to back I got maybe 202 might pull you across there. Taking black 8 in it, black and 8. And 6. And 8. Okay, West will go ahead and we'll hold 8, hold and 6. Off West. Black and 7 with. Northumberland traffic, Eddie Mac. Eddie Mac, Northumberland traffic. Yes, we finished the anchor work and we're going back into Borden. Northumberland traffic, Roger.
Hi, Bud.
Sir, how are you?
Woke up from work. Yeah. Been on the road.
Well, I did the early morning shift. Paul and I worked for, loaded some gravel and.
Yeah, we just need about 6 more months of this, we'll be all right. She's moving along.
As you said, I know we've tried it before, but we haven't tried it on this particular reason. So I think I met him with
We got some changes since the last time. You ain't seen nothing yet.
That's right.
It's just started to pick up steam a bit. And,
If he wants us to move, he better come and get us.
better stay focused now.
Hour here, I know.
Attention, please. Honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Kevin Pittick, and on behalf of Strait Crossing, it's my pleasure to welcome everyone here today to the Prince Edward Island staging facility for construction of the Northumberland Strait Bridge project. I'd like to extend a special welcome to our guest, the Honourable David Dingwall, Minister of Public Works and Government Services Canada, and Minister responsible for the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency. We've spent most of this morning talking and touring the facility, and I'm sure the Minister has a few things to tell you about it. I'd also like to acknowledge some of our other distinguished guests. The Honourable Catherine Colbeck, Premier of Prince Edward Island. Welcome, Premier. And I believe Mayor George Ramsey of the town of Borden. Welcome, Mr. Mayor. The occasion today is the first anniversary of the date of financial closing and the signing of the agreements between the Government of Canada and Strait Crossing for the financing, design, construction, operation, and maintenance of a bridge across the Northumberland Strait, which were signed on October 7th, 1993. This group here today, public officials and administrators, we have labor representatives, and many subcontractors and suppliers. This group represents most of those who have already, or will in the coming months and years, be directly involved in the prosecution of this project. We are well aware of the challenges that lie ahead and the work which has just begun. But just for a moment today, we wanted to look at the progress to date and what has been made in the past year. The Bayfield and Borden staging facilities are starting to produce bridge components, and work is well underway in the Strait for the approach bridges. Also today, we're pleased to welcome you to this building, which in the next few weeks will be completed with displays and open to the public for information.
Welcome to our home at Borden. A little over 100 years ago, people started thinking about, talking about, debating about building a fixed link. A little over 7 years ago, when I was a young man, I got involved in that debate. And pleased to announce that 3 years from now, before I'm an old man, you'll be driving over that bridge. You've seen, those of you that have been involved in the project and piecemeal as well as day to day, you've seen changes go on this year. And we are on our way to keeping our targets and our deadlines. We need a bit of a break in the weather to do what we set out for ourselves this year. We plan on getting that break in the weather and hit our targets.
As far as what have we done in the last year, as Kevin mentioned, we've built our staging areas. Some of the things that we've accomplished in the last year is our design is at close to 90% completion. That's an undertaking in itself. Parallel to that, we've moved over 1 million cubic meters of earth to prepare both this staging area and the one in Bayfield. We've cast over 40,000 cubic meters of concrete, the main portion of which goes into 6 kilometers of slider runway to move our bridge components, and on the main facility behind us outside, you'll see over to the right a model of how that yard's going to operate. But the one thing that really made it happen, and the only thing that's going to make it happen from here till '97, is the fact that we got the best people in Atlantic Canada working for us. We got the best labor force, and we got the most skilled workers out there, and they're doing a hell of a job. So for anybody here, going back to John Rose I saw there, and a few other people from the different unions, you go back and make sure you let everybody know they're doing a hell of a job. And I'm not going to take up any more time, because talking about a bridge for more than 5 minutes by me ends up being a public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I'd now like to invite the Premier of the province of Prince Edward Island to say a few words. The Honourable Catherine Colbeck.
Thank you very much, Kevin, Minister David Dingwall, Paul, my colleagues, worship, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, I'm extremely happy to join with everyone here this morning on this special occasion, the first anniversary of the Fixed Link. And I want to welcome David Dingwall again to Prince Edward Island. As we know, he's the minister responsible, and I'm really delighted, David, that you're taking such a personal interest in this project. It's a project that's extremely important to this province, and we really appreciate your efforts. So thank you very much for coming today. It is, as I said, an important project. It creates a lot of jobs in the province. It's stimulated economic activity, and we really look forward to the completion in '97. As I said a few minutes ago to Paul, it's amazing what's been accomplished in a year, and his comment was, well, you haven't seen anything yet. So Paul, we really look forward to the completion of this project. It's wonderful to have SCI in this province. Construction is going extremely well. And now that the Fixed Link is up and started, our challenge is to get economic development going in the Borden-Carleton area. So again, thank you very much for inviting me here today. It's a real pleasure to be here on such a special and beautiful day.
Thank you, Premier. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce the Minister of Public Works and Government Services Canada and the Minister responsible for ACOA, the Honourable David Dingwall. Mr. Minister.
Thank you very much, Premier Colbeck, members of the business community, labor representatives, officials from various levels of government, and ladies and gentlemen. I had quite a tour this morning, and Paul was very kind in showing me a number of the operations and activities that are taking place in this particular facility. And I inquired about a job after my tenure in public life, and he said, well, I don't know if you'd be up to it, Minister. You're kind of small, kind of chubby. The hairline makes you look kind of old. So I said, well, Paul, how about a summer job? So he said he'd take that under advisement. I want to thank Paul for very seriously for inviting me here today for a tour of the construction site and to join with you in celebrating the first anniversary of the contract signing. I think it goes without saying that it would be most appropriate on my part if I were to thank my predecessor, the Honorable Elmer MacKay, the former Minister of Public Works and Government Services, and the Minister responsible for ACOA, who had a great deal to do with this particular project. And I think it only fitting that we recognize and acknowledge the contribution that he made to seeing this project through to its completion. On another note, I want to say that I've been very involved with this project as the opposition House Leader from a legislative perspective. And I can tell you that the maneuverings in the House of Commons to make certain that this particular thing from a constitutional perspective was legitimized. And I think members of my own party as well as my predecessors deserve credit for the way in which we engineered this particular feat, notwithstanding the opposition which was there. I think we have real reason to feel pretty upbeat about how things have gone this first year. By and large, the project is on schedule, and indeed it is on target. As you know, one of the preconditions of this agreement was that some 70% of the overall economic benefit and about 96% of the job opportunities from the project should flow to Atlantic Canada. So far, as the Minister responsible, I'm pleased to say these targets are well on the way to being met. And already a number of Atlantic Canadian firms have obtained subcontracts for this very substantial project. Approximately 500 jobs directly related to the project have been created so far, and this number is expected to rise around 1,500 by next summer. Some critics, as you know, have suggested that local firms might not be up to the challenge. Well, I'm happy to say after my conversations with the project director that Atlantic Canadian firms have proven them wrong. They have shown that they can provide the right products and services at very competitive prices. And this is something of which here in Atlantic Canada we should all be very proud. And the real payoff is yet to come. In the long term, the bridge will bring many opportunities in manufacturing, agriculture, fisheries, transportation, and tourism. I don't think we should lose sight of the significance that this particular activity can bring not only to PEI and New Brunswick and Atlantic Canada, but to the nation as a whole. The provincial governments of Prince Edward Island, led by the Premier Colbeck, and Nova Scotia are moving ahead with their role in the project, and I would like to congratulate them for their hard work and cooperative efforts. Significant progress has been made in the realignment of the Prince Edward Island approach roads and obtaining approval of highway system monies for New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island, and the redevelopment commitment for the communities of Borden and Cape Tormentine. As for the federal government, we have passed legislation, as you know, clearing away any possible constitutional impediment to proceeding with the bridge. We have moved our project office to Prince Edward Island to be closer to the action, and will continue to monitor progress throughout construction, particularly with technical and environmental concerns, economic benefits, and job creation. We Canadians, I believe, are sometimes accused of being overly modest about our accomplishments. As I travel the world, I think there's a lot of truth to that particular statement. So let's not be shy about bragging a little bit about this great bridge that we are building. And I was very happy to hear both publicly and privately from the project director, who has told me repeatedly that the high quality labor, that the aggressiveness of the business here in Atlantic Canada has been first class in seeing that this particular project is up and running and on time, and I think we should be very proud of that. This project is, after all, one of the most challenging engineering feats ever undertaken in this country. It ranks with the best: the Trans-Canada Highway, the St. Lawrence Seaway, and the Canadian Pacific Railway. When this bridge is completed, it will be one of the greatest bridges of the world, and Canadians have built it. As Minister of Public Works and Government Services, I'm constantly on the lookout for innovative ways of financing major public projects without placing undue strain on the public purse. Some of you may or may not know, but last Early last year in New Brunswick, I announced that my department would set up a secretariat for the purposes of facilitating and fast-tracking various public works enterprises throughout this country. This is but one example, granted a very demonstrable example, of the private sector in cooperation with governments assuming a leadership role in accomplishing something which is extremely beneficial to the people of Canada. This development is an excellent example of public-private sector partnering. The project is an initiative which we can all be very proud, and most certainly we will be looking for similar joint ventures in other parts of the country. So those of you who have ties in the business community which go beyond the Borden area, I hope that you will seize the opportunity and seize the moment, either through the auspices of unsolicited proposals and or through the development of consortium to present your proposals to me and to my colleagues in the Government of Canada. On the international front, we have already had many inquiries from engineers and technical officials from Italy, Germany, Japan, France, and other countries. As construction continues, we can anticipate many visitors from around the world, as well as thousands of ordinary Canadians who will want to see this great project taking place. In this regard, I congratulate Strait Crossing Development Incorporated for setting up this information center. This is a wonderful venture, and we want Canadians to know about it and to be proud of it. And we want to remind them that this bridge is another link that will forge this country together. So my friends, once again, let me congratulate Paul and Strait Crossing Development Incorporated and all its partners in this venture, the provinces of Prince Edward Island and New Brunswick, for making such a good beginning during the first year. I would also like to congratulate those Atlantic Canadian companies as well as labor representatives who are contributing significantly to the success of this project. Finally, let's hope for a short winter, an early spring, and a fast start for 1995. To the private sector, to the provincial governments, I congratulate you on a tremendous start, and I look forward to coming back, Paul, not only during the summer, when I get my summer job, but I look forward to coming back to cutting the ribbon upon the completion of this national infrastructure project, which has so much significance for the people of Canada. Congratulations and thank you very much. But before I sit down, you give a politician a microphone, he never wants to shut up. I have a little gift that I'd like to present to Paul as the project director. It is a gift which we have, it's called the, what is it called here? The Northumberland Strait Crossing Project on behalf of the Government of Canada, which I hope that you will display in your office so that many of your friends, particularly in the private sector, will come to realize that although there is no longer a free lunch from the Government of Canada, we do have from time to time a gift or two. Paul, thank you very much.
Well, as I mentioned earlier on, 3 years from now I'll be driving across the bridge, and 3 years from now we'll be having a heck of a party, as well as just cutting a ribbon. But in the meantime, Mr. Minister, keep us in mind in Ottawa, and this is just one span. I'd like to build a few bridges elsewhere in this country, so.
I think we have time for 2 or 3 questions. If you could please indicate